Do you have a brilliant startup idea? Visit our website at eapla.com to schedule a Blue Couch meeting and launch your startup journey today.
Welcome back to On The Cusp. Got Matt Snyder back with me, we're coming live from the airport in Shreveport. And this is an exciting episode because we have Waynette Ballengee, the chairwoman of the Airport Commission, right?
Beautification Committee.
Beautification Committee, that's key on that.
Yeah, we've had Mark on here and we've talked about all the great things about parking and all that. But the real thing that's happening at the airport that you see every time is how good it looks.
We hope that every time you come to the airport, Matt, you notice that we've made another improvement. That everything's looking better.
I swear, I flew out a month ago and these benches weren't here. Like I would have practiced sitting on them if they would have been.
If you would have known this is what we were going to do.
But we're really proud of these benches.
Dude, they're awesome.
We've all come to the airport and we've all, in the past had to park in the grass and worry about, is my car going to be here when I get back or am I going to get towed?
Right.
But that is not the case anymore.
Well, we finally finished our new parking lot.
Right.
At the end of last summer. And that gave us about 400 additional spaces. And we're actually still working on more spaces that will be coming very soon.
I don't know about that. I always say, Shreveport's booming. You got to park on the grass when you go to the airport.
Well,
you don't make too many spots right now. That's what I'm telling people, how we measure our success.
Exactly.
But 400 more spaces, that's got to be going on the other side of where the booths are.
Yes. Well, no, the 400 were the total for the new lot that was finished last summer.
Right.
Then plus the additional spot that's going to go over on the other side that will be a gravel parking lot, but very affordable, very low amount of money to park there every day.
Are you going to shuttle people over?
There will be things available to get you here to the terminal.
Oh, that's huge.
That's awesome.
That's huge.
15 years ago, you could park on the front row every time you flew out of Shreveport. It's amazing to have that problem, that we're having to add parking.
Oh, they've added connections too. You can be, to me, what I love is, because we at the BRF, we go to DC a lot. I'm hoping we eventually get our own direct flight.
Well, we're still working on that.
I know you are, and hopefully we'll get that. But I can be in Washington, DC at 12:30.
Really?
From Shreveport.
You can be almost anywhere in the country by 12:30. I do it all the time. I've been to San Francisco before 12 o'clock. I've been to New York before 12 o'clock. If you'll leave on these early flights, you can rock and roll because you're in your connector by 8 and you
have the whole day.
Yes, you do.
Right.
You're not losing the day. So what's next on the beautification? Because that's what I want everybody to hear about.
Well, one of the things that we're most proud of is that when Larry Blackwell came to Shreveport a few years ago now,
that's been a game changer.
As our manager here, Larry was the guy that finally understood there are so many things in airport world that a local airport doesn't control. We don't control connections and we don't control prices. What we can control is what we look like and the kind of experience that you have once you're here. Larry said Shreveport has to be better. So thanks to his vision and understanding of that, what you see is really a direct result of that. So we plan constantly for what else is it that we can do to make things look better. Inside, we're looking good. Now we're going outside.
I was going to ask you, why does it matter what the airport looks like?
Well, if you have to hang out here, let's say that you have a delay, something's gone wrong with your flight, we didn't have the best offerings of things for you to eat, drink, places to sit.
That's right.
We looked a little old and tired.
Even the terminals.
The furniture was ripped, not the cleanest. So we all knew that had to change. Because when you are hanging out in a place that looks good and you can have some Mexican food and a margarita, or you can have pizza and great iced tea, you're not going to be as irritated and grumpy when you finally do get to depart.
It's the first impression too.
Well, it's the first and last.
That's
yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
For people who work closely with the airport, it's vitally important to all of us that we give the best impression possible of Shreveport.
That's amazing.
So we are constantly working.
I think people don't think about that. Like we're all with all the data center stuff and all that. I think a lot of these local companies were trying to convince these out of people to use local.
Right.
that starts by what they see
It all-
as they
yeah,
come
it
into
really
the
does. It
city.
starts
You know,
right
when
here.
your first impression of getting off a plane is that you're looking at seating that is ripped or
Right.
carpet that is
Oh,
dirty,
yeah, what does that tell you?
you're like, okay, things aren't good here.
Right.
So we have tried, and I say we, meaning collectively, the Airport Authority Board, the Beautification Committee, the employees here, everybody really is on the same page about feeling better.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a cool story that you'll like. So I've looked at advertising in the airport for my clients for 10 years, and I've never had anybody interested, really.
Really?
And then more recently, I've had 2 clients. We bought huge signs right when you come through
Right.
TSA because the airport looks in a way that we want to put our brand there. And my guys are like, of course we would want to have our brand right when you come
When you step
into
off the plane.
Shreveport. Yes. So I never had people wanting to do that.
Well,
until
that's music to my ears.
I think that really is kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the signal that you're doing something right.
they're like,
That's-
they want to be a part of it.
Well, if you look good,
Right.
and that doesn't apply just to the airport. That's just, that's period.
Yeah.
You know, if something looks inviting and clean and refreshed, it gives you a little bit of a sense of this is hopeful.
Right.
Shreveport's got it going on. That's the message that the airport wants to put out there. That,
I
you know,
love that.
don't drive past us. Don't drive 3 hours to go to Dallas to depart. Come see what's going on out here.
Right. And we have everything you're going to get
Absolutely.
in
Without
Dallas.
the hassle.
Without the
Without
hassle.
the hassle.
And the prices are great at this point. There's not a reason to drive to Dallas. I mean,
There isn't.
90% of the time, there's no reason to drive to Dallas. And a few times, I did this one time, probably over the last 3 years, I was like, oh man, that one is a little more.
That's
I'm gonna
more
book
affordable.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So I booked it, got a little closer, about 2 weeks out, I was like, I'm not driving over there. I had to add the Shreveport flight.
You're really not
You know,
saving
like,
any money
no,
by
you're
going to
really
Dallas.
not.
And
Okay.
you know, y'all, it varies widely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes if you're traveling with 6 people or 8 people, you might save money. But
Right.
if you're traveling by yourself
Oh,
or
there's
with
no way.
one other person,
Yeah.
very rarely do you save significant money by getting in your car and driving.
I want to go back to this because I have a ton of funny stories. I think the airport experience is driving more people flying. We always laugh about every time you go anywhere out of Shreveport, when you're coming back and you're walking to your connecting flight to Shreveport, who are we going to know? Who's going to be
Exactly.
on this
Absolutely.
flight?
I love it.
Oh,
I
here
love
we
it.
go. Okay, I'm always like, all right, I'm about to turn this corner.
Who's
We
gonna
gotta
be
turn
there?
it back on. Who are we about to?
Yes,
No.
you're going to meet somebody.
That-
And the funny story for me is I was in the Charlotte airport and a gentleman walked up to me and he says, "Are you Dave Smith?" And I went, "I might be."
Maybe.
Maybe. Why? And he says, "Well, don't you do that podcast in Shreveport, On The Cusp?" And I went, "You're kidding me. You see that?" He was from Baton Rouge. Okay.
That's awesome.
So I was like, holy cow.
Wow.
Maybe this podcast is reaching people. And I think that's what we want people to see
Right.
from this particular episode is if you haven't been to the airport lately, you need to come out here.
Well,
So
it's honestly unrecognizable.
It really is.
It is.
And-
It
From the
is.
old airport.
From the
it
old
really
airport.
is.
Yeah. And I think, you know, Mark Crawford and Larry Blackwell
great.
really get so much of the credit for being willing to say, you know, you're right. We might not be able to give you a new route to pick your favorite
Right,
place,
right.
but we can make you think that you're in a good
So,
spot.
so what's next? What are
Well,
y'all looking at next?
Next will be the unveiling of a fabulous new sign at our entrance, and that's going to happen this summer. And of all the things that we've done inside, I think the sign out front is going to be the biggest game changer. Because, you know, it's kind of like when you get an invitation to a party, the
Yep.
invitation sets the tone.
Yeah, I love
Well,
that.
here at the airport, that sign, when you drive up, you're going to say, "This is not Shreveport. Just wait." That's
I'm excited
coming
about
this
that.
summer.
So what I was going to tell you about the people. So I walk up on one of our last flights, and my buddy Jonathan Love's there. He's going to kill me for
Oh, I
telling
love
this.
him.
And I love him. And we've been friends since little kids, and we love each other, and we give each other a tough time. We're bicycle friends in the neighborhood. And I said, "Oh, man, where are you going?" He goes, "I just love the airport, man. I'm not driving anywhere anymore." I said, "Well, where have you been?" He said, "Baton Rouge." I said, "Wait a minute, we're in Houston right now." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got to connect." I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're flying Shreveport to Houston to Baton Rouge?"
Oh, my
Okay,
God.
now
I am. I like the airport.
we need to have him on a billboard.
Yeah.
I said, "That is amazing, John." So I gave him the hardest time about it. But yeah, but
That's
he
fun.
wouldn't do that if the experience at the airport
Wasn't better.
wasn't better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if y'all have noticed, even our retail is better.
Yes.
We separated the gift
Your coffee's
shop
better.
from the restaurant. And so now you go in and you're actually in a store setting.
Right.
And there are all kinds of fun things that are about Shreveport that you can purchase there. And you'd be surprised at how much more business we've had since that happened.
Yes, that is a huge. There used to be the worst, like fake Las Vegas things with Shreveport put over in that gift stuff. I was like, who is doing this?
Things that had nothing to do with Shreveport.
Nothing.
So, Mark has tried very hard to bring local flavor into this airport because before you saw all these changes, we didn't have much of an identity.
Right.
No, there wasn't. It really didn't.
You didn't get a sense of what Shreveport was about. And
Right.
I don't know, I'm sure you have seen all the artwork upstairs.
Yes.
That is
hoping we were
from
gonna talk-
Yeah, we're talking about,
local artists. That's a part
all
of
the hallways.
Artport.
So talk about how that's happening because I'm interested.
Well,
like,
Artport is actually an event that's produced by Cindy Smith and her
Okay.
group. And it only happens every 4 years.
Wow.
And it had not happened in quite some years until last June. And they resurrected it, and it was the biggest, best ever. I don't know if you guys had a chance to come out. But all of the art and the sculptures and everything that you see upstairs are from local artists who have their pieces juried into this event.
wow,
And
it looks awesome.
and the murals on the walls absolutely give you a sense of what is Shreveport. Shreveport is food, music, athletics.
Yeah.
All of it has been incorporated into what you see upstairs.
I do love it every time, and I look at every one of them.
Me
It's
too.
cool.
I always try to get here early.
Oh, good.
Okay. I get here early because I can be through TSA in a
Very
matter
quickly.
of minutes.
Right.
It's
I
never.
come last second, Dave, to prove how fast the airport is. I'm like pulling in.
I don't
believe that.
stop. I don't stop to get breakfast. I come straight in,
Okay.
right through TSA, grab a coffee, grab something to eat, and sit there, and scroll through the phone. Okay,
Yeah.
waiting on my flight, and it's that quick.
Well, just one of the other advantages of traveling from Shreveport rather than from a larger airport. You
I want to be in Mark's commercial where we see how fast from house to plane I can get. I think I could be in plane in 14 minutes from my house.
You like to push it.
Okay, you
don't
do like to push it.
I think
Yeah.
this is the easiest airport I've ever been into. If you are prepared and you know how to do it, it's the easiest airport I've ever been to.
Well, I want to say, a lot of people.
TSA here is the smoothest
Usually quick.
TSA.
Oh yes,
and
Smooth as
usually
sea.
friendly.
And
Very
usually
friendly.
And-
Very friendly.
And
You
they'll
know-
know you. Like
Yeah.
over time, they will recognize you.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people want to complain about baggage.
They do.
And I had to wait on my bags. Well, that's not the airport, right?
Thank you so much for bringing that up because it is a hot topic with the airport that all too often people do have to wait a little bit to get their baggage. We encourage all of them, if they have a problem, to call the airline to give details, dates, times, and how long they had to wait because all of the staffing that is handled in an airport is done by each individual airline.
That's right.
So if
it's
you're
not the
flying,
airport.
if you're flying on American from Charlotte or Dallas, and you come in and you wait 30 minutes for your bags, you need to call the airline because they're responsible for the staffing, for the baggage handlers,
Yes.
the people that work the gates. So most of the time when you come to an airport, the people that you see in this airport are not airport employees.
That is correct.
When you check in at these desks, those are not people that are hired by the airport authority. Those people work for Delta, American, United, Allegiant.
Well, the other side to that is if you buy a ticket and you're traveling through Shreveport, that sends a pretty clear signal to the airlines. You got to hire people to handle the volume as opposed to
that's
driving.
what we keep thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, our load factors are terrific right now. We have returned to pre-COVID numbers in the total number of people passing
that
through this
is
airport
good.
every year. We've hit 800,000 per year.
I think
That's a lot of people.
So I think in the past, we always thought about the Shreveport Airport as like high-income Shreveporters traveling, whatnot. When I come to the airport, I do know a few people, but I don't know a whole lot of
majority.
people.
Well,
And they're coming from everywhere.
Shreveport really is a regional airport. So we draw lots of passengers from South Arkansas, from East Texas, because we have more flights and more choices available to them.
You can tell.
So even though there are airports in surrounding cities, they don't have the same number of options that we have.
Yeah.
So, Shreveport Airport is your first and last impression when you are visiting the city. So
that is so
it is
true.
a much better impression
and it
today
is a great
than
impression.
it was.
And I think it's very
However many
important
years.
to know that there are a group of people that are trying constantly to continue making improvements, and the airport staff is continuously fighting, and I really do mean fighting, to bring more routes
Right.
that help you to get to all the places you want to go.
I think people are starting to get that.
I think people are seeing
They
the
used
results
to
of
not,
it.
but I think now, like, I hear less and less complaints. I hear people say, "Oh, I'd love a route to DC or whatever,"
Or Miami, or
Right.
pick your favorite city.
but
You
I
know,
don't hear
Chicago.
them really complaining. You
I
know,
don't
like,
know.
I think we've cleaned up so many things, and I think that y'all will be so pleased to see the improvements that are going to happen this very summer. Some new announcements are coming, and I think that it's just a good time for the airport.
yeah, and if the airport's running smooth and looks great, connections are not tough. I mean,
People going through here, it's
it
all
doesn't
about
have
traffic.
to be. Everything doesn't have to be direct, and it's
Yep.
never going to be
It's
everything
never going to be.
direct. Like,
Everything's never going to be
it
direct.
Not ever. Not
it
yet.
adds an hour to where you're going, probably. You know, maybe an hour and a half. Who is that? You're lucky in a city of 200,000 people to have an
Well, I'm
airport
going to
with
tell
this
you
many
that
connections.
during COVID days, we were in absolute fear of losing most of our routes
yeah,
and them not ever coming back. So when they did come back like they did, you talk about a sigh of relief, because imagine Shreveport without an airport.
I mean, I've been impressed with how full my flights have been.
Oh, they are.
I mean, they're
full.
all my
And I
flights to
told
Houston,
Jamie the
Dallas
other
are
day when we were
always full.
flying back in, you know, she said, "Oh my gosh, it's so full." I said, "That's good."
That's the best
That's
news
the
that
best.
we can
Best
have
news,
out of Shreveport
absolutely.
is if every flight in here were full every day.
That's
That's
right.
what
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Pre-COVID, I flew on that flight going to New Orleans when that
Empty.
guy was trying to, and it was me and Kathleen.
Yeah.
It was a private plane.
Yeah,
I was like, this is
absolutely.
not good.
You chartered.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much,
Well,
and
thanks
we're
for having me.
excited.
Yeah,
We're
thanks for
excited
all
about
you
that.
do.
Come back to the airport frequently
Oh,
this summer.
you don't have to worry about that.
We
We
will.
will. We will. All right.
Enjoy the podcast? We would love your feedback about today's show and who you think should be our next guest. Send us an email at info@eapla.com. Also, be sure to share the show and leave a comment on our social media post.